for the royal appointment. I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna tell you something. I think the royal appointment may be about me. This wouldn't be the first time either.
This is where I think she might be talking about me. While I accept that there is a difference between those amateur sleuths reporting on what journalists like me have written and the trolls who follow them, it would help if the former didn't spout such utter ill-informed hat stand. None of these TikTok-style know-it-alls have ever spoken to anyone remotely close to these events. They don't appear to have done much wider reading, but she knows that isn't true because I reached out to her about this article and where the specific research came from, specifically stating that I had reached out to the HJS and combed through some of their papers.
Yeah, so that happened. Today's offering is titled, "It Will Be Hard to Distinguish the Silly Royal News from the Rest of the Year in Some Quarters." About 2 weeks ago, I posted this.
It's almost that time of year again. Silly season for royal reporting. And you might be asking yourself, Meredith, how is that different from literally any other day?
Did I do that? In this piece, she writes, quote, "Traditionally, the popular press would now indulge in silly season. But when it comes to royal news, I'm afraid that between the wild social media accounts, unregulated overseas press," that's okay, "and royal experts, who are nothing of the sort, it will be hard to distinguish the silly royal news from the rest of the year in some quarters." Yeah, no, the problem lies in the unregulated press and not the parasitic relationship between the British media and the British royal family, which makes the British media more of an extended PR apparatus for the British royal family. Yeah, oh God, thank God for those regulations. Thank God for that editor's code of conduct. It's going great. Things have really changed since Diana. Is she saying that somehow silly season in traditional publishing is somehow higher brow than what happens online? Because it feels like you write silly shit all the time. There's a difference between distinguished papers like your own and amateurs on the internet. And the difference is that you actually are supposed to adhere to a code of conduct and ethics and have a responsibility to deliver free and fair news. But you don't, which is why online amateurs with their social media accounts come in to try to help make sense of the noise. Anyway, she decides to give away some end of the season awards. Best dancer is obviously Prince William at Taylor Swift. Oddly enough, an award for staying put for Prince Andrew because he's winning the battle with a stubborn refusal to move out. Like, I don't know, maybe that's something you want to investigate. Why is the royal family rehabilitating Andrew's image? Why does a former friend of Jeffrey Epstein continue to live on royal grounds? But sure, awards. You'll never guess who the Big Sister Award for letting your hair down went to. Louis. Just kidding, it was Charlotte. The Elizabeth II Award for speaking to the nation. Princess of Wales. This is one way to continue to mold Kate in the image of Queen Elizabeth II, who many people admired, and find ways to show similarities between the two women. Yes, her video announcing her diagnosis was incredibly moving. But like, this is getting embarrassing. Stop giving participation trophies for someone who clearly does not like public speaking and doesn't necessarily excel at it. Not to mention there's a difference between a taped speech and a live speech. I'm not saying she didn't do a great job, but like, what are we doing here? Oh, and the award for most awards goes to Prince Harry, who can add the Pat Tillman Award for Service and the Living Legend of Aviation to his many titles. Really gonna come on here, someone who writes about the British royal family and talk about made-up titles and honors. Great to see that silly season is already off to a roaring start.